This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And I don't know if you heard, but on the last live show, we announced that Reunion 2011 is ready to go. We've got the dates out. You can check it out at our website at 2011reunion.net. But the great part about Reunion is that MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan and book that trip to Reunion for you. In fact, by booking with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for Reunion 2011, it's going to guarantee you, well, a great rate, of course, but it's also going to get you first dibs on any hard ticket events we have. And let's face it, there are going to be hard ticket events, and you're going to want to have first crack at them because they're limited capacity. So check them out right now at www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes, and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, May 25th, 2011, and this is episode 881 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hodgberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
So Matt, we've been doing the show for almost 6 years now, and over those 6 years, we've come across a lot of people who become our fans. And some of them become our friends. Sorry. And we lost 2 friends this past weekend. Laurie and Glenn Holland. They were the victims of that terrible tornado in Joplin, Missouri. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Laurie and Glenn's family.
Absolutely. It was terrible news that we heard, and we hope that their family does well in this desperate, and difficult time. So it's never easy, but I think you said it pretty well, Mike. Also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of The Initial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome to the show, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Mike said. It was a tragedy.
And also joining us on today's show is the fabulous Annette Owens, a manager of customer relations and group services for MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome, Annette.
Hey, glad to be back. And I just want to add, we have lots of listeners, too, that probably were affected that are still here and with us. And, our thoughts are with them as well, because we have actually an agent that lives very close by that she still has part of a home. And, her church is gone and that kind of thing. So this is really, Yeah,
it's never easy, and when it hits close to home like this, and, it's not that any of us were ever over their house or ever met their family or anything like that, but because of the nature of the Disney internet community and how we get to know people virtually, and in some cases in person as well, it's such a different dynamic now, and when we heard this news, it's just like, wow, because I could picture her username in chat. I mean, that's like how I kind of made the connection. We'd have the live show, and when someone told me what her username was, I was like, wow, then it became more real for me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, she was a runner.
That's right. But anyway, it's Wednesday, and we're going to answer your listener questions. Let's get things started with an email from Brian in New Orleans. With the recent victory of Animal Kingdom at the Kentucky Derby, which Disney name would you give a racehorse?
Oh, I love this question.
It's got to be... See, Animal Kingdom is too obvious. Like, a lot of the names are always like... They're almost like Indian names, like American Indian names, like running with scissors. They've got... You know what I mean? Like, they're not like... It's not like Squan... I don't know how to explain it. They're names that, like, allude to things. So
Journey into Imagination with Figment.
Well, that would be easy to say.
Yeah, exactly.
I got one. Yeehaw, Bob.
Yeah, that's a good one. Here comes Yeehaw Bob rounding the corner.
Oh, my gosh.
Into the home stretch.
And, of course, if there's a name that can work with almost anything, Len, you've already established this many years ago, Mangello would be a good horse name.
Mangello, that's it. Well, nothing says the Preakness like Disney's Pop Century Resort, so, That's it, Disney's Pop Century Resort. That would be the name of my horse.
There you go. Next email is from Kathy Adams from good old Connecticut, and she writes, thinking about vacation when I should be working, what else is new? Question for all of you Walt Disney World gurus. We're going to the world in July, and we'll be visiting the studios one morning and possibly one evening. On our morning visit, we'll be at Rope Drop, and it's me, my husband, 8 and 6-year-old girls. How does this touring plan sound? Toy Story, should we do Fast Pass or Standby? And if Standby, how much of a wait at opening? Then let's answer that question first. So,
Fast Pass.
Fast Pass, okay.
Yeah.
Then get a fast pass for Rock and Roller Coaster, and then ride Tower of Terror standby.
I would actually. So I'd Fast Pass Tower of Terror. I'd Fast Pass Toy Story Mania. I would ride Rock and Roller Coaster. Then I would ride Tower of Terror.
I agree. Animation Academy, depending on timing, also the Art of Animation tour.
Mm-hmm.
Ride Rock and Roller. She puts Rock and Roller Coaster here with the fast passes, but if you're going with your idea, it won't be an issue.
Yeah.
Get Star Tours fast passes.
I would actually do Great Movie Ride. Oh, man, you tell me if I'm wrong. Great Movie Ride after Tower of Terror.
Yeah, what I would have. Yeah,
because you don't want to crisscross the park to come back to Great Movie Ride.
I agree with that. Yeah. I always like to do Great Movie Ride if I'm doing the every day, the whole day tour before noontime. Certainly, if I can get in before 11, even better. Yeah. Lunch at 50's Prime Time, Muppet Vision 3D, and then ride Star Tours.
Yeah, that sounds good. You're in there, and then you can throw in an Indiana Jones somewhere around there whenever you're available.
If we can't fit all these attractions into one morning, what one should we do on our evening visit? Also, let's start with that one.
And, you can do animation and
Muppet Vision any time of the day.
Muppet Vision, yeah, any time of the day, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would actually take an Animation Academy out of there, Kathy. I mean, you could it'd be nice if you could sneak it in there. But the Animation Academy especially is pretty easy to get into. There's hardly ever more than a one show wait. So, yeah, like Len said, if, see where you are in the morning. If anything, you can always just tack those on at the end of your morning and you'll have, if you've got time for it. Also, your opinion on trying to fit in either Lights Motors Action or Backlot Tour. Will we fry like eggs on a sidewalk watching Lights Motors Action in the summertime? Is Backlot Tour worth the time? We haven't experienced either attraction.
I went on Backlot Tour this last weekend. It was fun. It wasn't bad at all. There was still enough to see. I missed some of the old houses and stuff like that, but the Pearl Harbor scene is still pretty good. Sorry, the harbor scene is still pretty good. The walk through the prop warehouse is still fun. Lights Motor Action isn't as compelling to me. It's one of those things you see once, and that's good.
I don't think either. I mean, Backlot Tour, if someone who's never seen it, I would say you have to go see it. In fact, I would say you should see both attractions. There's hardly ever, I don't think there's any attraction in Walt Disney World I can think of that's not worth seeing at least once. So, and Lights Motors Action, Kathy was worried about getting too overheated over there. I mean, it is covered by, it's open air, but there's an overhang, so you're in the shade. And if you get there, go for the earlier show, because that late afternoon show, that's when you start getting the, the real heat of the day. Because, the real heat in Florida really strikes between, noon to 1 all the way till about 4 to 5 p.m. So if you can get it in beforehand, even better. Next email is from Megan Kransky of New Jersey. I was listening to your podcast back on May 11th, and we'll have to disagree with you regarding the question about the people who were going to the world without a park hopper to save money. You said Epcot is not really for kids of their ages. I believe Epcot is very kid-friendly. With Innoventions, you have games for them to play, arts and crafts to keep them entertained, and free souvenirs. Then you have the countries that they can create masks and other other cardboard objects to hang on the mask. Very educational, I must say. Then there's the Disney Passport you can get or create your own. Then you got a Figment along with the land ride. So I would say Epcot would be very beneficial for kids, not only educational but fun. Anyway, that's it for this email. Hopefully somebody will read it on the podcast one day. I'm very hopeful.
But the park is number 4 for kids. The other 3 are ahead of it for kids.
I agree with you, Mike. But appreciate Megan. Thanks for the feedback. Appreciate hearing your thoughts on that. Next email is from Ken Hutchinson of Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Hey, Matt, I can't believe Free Will by Rush does nothing for you, Hochberg.
Wow.
Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, my long-lost brother who I share a birthday and love for all things Disney and Rush. Len and Annette. What would you guys say are the top...
What?
What happened?
Where's the love there?
He evidently only loves Newell and hates me.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
And it's just Lynn and Annette.
You clowns. But anyway, okay.
What would you guys say are the top 3 meals for lunch in World Showcase?
Ooh, sit down or counter service? Counter service is pretty straightforward. I mean, Sunshine Seasons is number 1. Morocco, I think, is everyone's number 2, right?
Well, they said World Showcase, so Sunshine Seasons is not in World Showcase.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, when did that relocate?
Yeah. So the last 2 lunches I've had in World Showcase, the last couple of lunches I've had in World Showcase, one was fish and chips at the UK. The other one was the Tangerine Cafe at in Morocco. I would pretty much go anywhere except for the counter service at China, the Lotus Blossom. That's just I had it once for dinner, the quick service. Just not. I mean, that in the United States because you can get burgers anywhere. The interesting thing about sit-down lunches, though, sit-down lunches don't begin until noon, right? Like the UK Pavilion doesn't open until noon for lunch, even though the fish and chips place is open at 11:30.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what about you? What's your favorite meals in World Showcase?
Well, I tend to stay away from the fish and chips just because.
Why?
Well, I've had a bad experience with the smell over there, so we'll just leave it at that. And there's something about fish and the smell. Anyway, I tend to always migrate over to Mexico and eat over there and just have quick service over there.
The cantina?
Yeah. It's kind of quick.
So speaking of Mexico, we went to dinner at La Hacienda this last weekend, and dude, it was fabulous. We got the La Hacienda meal, 2 of those. When there's like 6 of us. It's they've got a steak, a chicken, little chorizo sausages, like the ones that you find on the end of a toothpick.
Right.
I was eating those like they were popcorn, dude. They were fantastic, and got a couple of margaritas. It was really good. I think that place. Plus, I got the reservation same day. Or actually, and when I say I mean Laurel got the reservation same day. It was fantastic. La Hacienda, I think, is one of my top, certainly one of my top 5 in all of World Showcase, maybe even top 3.
See, and I'm kind of gonna have to laugh because I was just there in April, and I didn't look at menus before I went. And we went and sat down, and we looked, and we ended up, of all things, seriously, we got dessert. We went straight to dessert. We went, you know what? This isn't really what we wanted. We're just going to get dessert.
How was that?
Might as well have said we had apple pie. I don't know how you pronounce what we had, but it was apple pie with caramel icing. Our ice cream. That's what we had for dinner.
I would say
so we had American apple pie in Mexico.
But I really like La Hacienda. I mean, I like it way better than San Angel, although San Angel was open. I think the food quality is much better.
I think my favorites at this point for a meal in World Showcase for lunch, Via Napoli.
Via Napoli for lunch. Yeah, great call.
Tangerine Cafe in Morocco.
Yep.
And the counter service in Germany. Is it Summerfest? Is that the name?
Yeah, Summerfest.
Yeah.
But that's quick service.
Yeah. Well, for quick service. I'm little of both. Next email is from Josh from Michigan. You talk a lot on the show about how nice the rooms are at the Contemporary. We're Disney Vacation Club members, so I was wondering if the studio level rooms at Bay Lake Tower are as nice as the rooms over at the Contemporary Resort proper.
They're furnished well. They're just a weird layout.
I know, Annette, you have a comment on the layout of the Bay Lake Tower studios, I know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the bathroom.
Yeah.
The bathroom. You should not be able to dry your hair, fix your coffee, and pop popcorn all at the same time.
and do the dishes.
It's very efficient, but and I would love to wash my hands in the bathroom before opening the door to come out to wash my hands.
Do you think, Annette, they are as nice as the regular rooms at the Contemporary Tower?
Oh, it's hard to compare. I really like the room in the tower. That's just my preference.
So if I was saying Annette, you're going to stay in one. You could stay in either one. Which one would you pick?
The tower.
Tower. Okay, so you're going with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how does the Bay Lake Tower compare to Kidani Village or the Disney Vacation Home Villas at Jambo House? My family's trying to decide where to stay on our next trip to the world.
In a studio, though?
Yeah, based on the first part of the question, I'm assuming yes, the studio.
Ooh, that's a tough one, man.
It's tough.
Let me tell you something. I stayed at Jambo House in Animal Kingdom Lodge this past week as part of a Disney media event, and I was really disappointed in Jambo House. Not because there was anything bad, like there were bugs or anything like that, but I stayed at Jambo House, and then I went to Beach Club, and I felt like I was getting I was rescued. Like I came to I really like the Jambo House rooms were just, and this was a regular standard view room. They're so small, so dark, that I really just, when I got to Beach Club, which was a regular standard room that looked at nothing, I was like, oh my god, this room is amazing. It's like double the size. It is, it's got a couch in there. It just, and of course, you're obviously closer to so many other things. So I loved Beach Club. And I was really I think I was more down on Jumbo House than I was up on Beach Club. If that makes any sense, but for what that's worth.
Kidani, though, I don't think. I used to think that maybe Polynesian was my, if I had a choice. But if someone had given me a choice of Polynesian or Kidani Savannah, I'll take the Kidani Savannah. I really would.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Huh. This is how it begins, the slow downward descent into senility. Well.
So, Len, what's your pick?
Have you been at Kidani, Len?
Yeah, of course. I've stayed everywhere but Shades of Green. Every single place but Shades of Green.
Shades of Green.
I'm actually working on individual sections of the building now. Like within the U, there are at Jumbo House, there are like 18 different views. I'm working on all the different views now.
So Bay Lake, Kidani, or Jumbo, DVC Jumbo.
Okay, if you're staying if you're going to spend most of your time at the Magic Kingdom, I don't think there's much of a debate. I would go Bay Lake Tower.
Right.
The dining. Obviously, there's no dining there, right? But you have many dining options on the monorail loop, including going to the Contemporary, which kind of makes up for the fact that Animal Kingdom Jumbo has Jiko and Boma. By the way, I had a fabulous meal at Jiko 2 weekends ago too at the bar. It was great. It was really good.
Cool.
So that's what I would go with. But if you're not, right, if you're going to spend your time somewhere else, especially the Animal Kingdom, well, then it's a no-brainer. So it's going to depend on where you spend your time.
Next email is from Michael Gannon, who writes, "Hi, everyone. First-time emailer. I discovered your podcast about a year ago when the oldest episode was number 377 about taking kids out of school, and I've been listening to every episode ever since. One thing that I particularly like about your show is that you aren't afraid to give a complete and balanced review of both the positives and negatives of a particular topic.
Doesn't everybody?
However, after just having finished your June live show, I do feel a need to speak up in favor of the Polynesian luau, lest any readers be dissuaded by your consistently lukewarm feelings about it. For the record, I visited Walt Disney World 6 times, 1976, 1978, 1983, 1989, 1998, and 2001. I was 14 at the time of the 76 visit, so you can do the math for the rest. My parents and I stayed at the Polynesian in that first visit and became tradition. I've never stayed anywhere but the Polynesian during any Disney World trip, either with my parents or my wife. As you can see, we love it. And along with the mandatory stay at Polynesian, attended the luau once per trip and has become a mandatory tradition that we can never consider passing up. I do agree that the food is not the main attraction of the experience. I'd rate it a B, but I absolutely disagree about the implication made in the live show that the show is less than comparable to real luau's in Hawaii, as you stated some of your Hawaii experience listeners have reported. Granted, it's been 9 years since my last trip to the world, so my information may be outdated, but each and every time over the 25-year period during which I did attend it, the family and I loved it tremendously and were impressed with the entertainment, the music, the performing, the fire show, etc. And for the record, my wife and I honeymooned in Hawaii and attended a real Hawaiian luau presented by Maui's Royal Lahaina? Some hotel in Maui.
Yeah, what you said. Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, neither was significantly better or worse than the other. They were equally great shows. I definitely feel that the Polynesian luau is absolutely representative of authentic luau and is an experience that any Disney World visitor who hasn't already done so should absolutely make a point of attending at least once. Now, Len, I know I know, one, you've actually seen the show, and two, you've been a major, what's the opposite of a proponent?
Opponent?
Opponent, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. All right, you've been not a big fan of the luau. Tell us why you're not a fan of the luau.
Number one, it's the length. It's a good 2 hour show. Number two, the food is just barely passable. It's not that they don't try, but anytime you're making dinner for 200 people, it's never going to be fresh. It's never going to be hot. It's never going to be as good as something that's made when you order it. And then there's the plot of the show, which again I haven't seen in a couple of years. Maybe it's changed, but the plot was tenuous at best. And you kind of know exactly where it's going after about 5 minutes. So
obviously I don't know Michael, but I'm going to say that, considering that he's seen it since the 70s, and gone back many times. Obviously, he has a big, deep connection with the show. Loves it. As a kid, went to go see it and has seen it many times ever since. And we all have things like that we enjoy. Like great example, south of the border, in between on North Carolina and South Carolina border, on I-95. I love that place. You know why? Because
You gotta be kidding me.
I love it because I hate it. It's awful. It's just like it's a terrible. It's a cheap road stop, right? But why do I like it? Because I've been going there ever since I was a kid. It's like it's something that you just do over and over again, and it becomes tradition for your family, and it is kind of fun in that regard. So I'm not sure maybe if nostalgia is playing a bit of a factor. I don't know. I'm just putting words in his mouth, but
I can't believe you compared the Polynesian luau to south of the border.
South of the border,
but okay,
love it.
Oh my gosh.
South of the border.
Down Mexico way.
Mexico, very good, thank you.
Fell in love.
With Pedro?
With Pedro. Pedro's the man.
Yep, that's the man.
Next time I come to North Carolina, Annette, we're going to south of the border.
I don't think I've ever stopped there. I think we've all taken a picture of the hat as we're going by and said, yay, there we went.
Next email is from Dave Conger of Newton, Iowa. Howdy, Mr. Matt, and Master Mike Newell, Marvelous Mike Silpa, and Logical Len. Somehow you became Spock, Len.
Woo!
I first would like to say how much I enjoy listening to your shows. You all keep me company as I travel the roads of Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, and South Dakota. Who needs satellite radio when there is quality podcasts for free? My question is, when my wife and I go to Disney World, we always try to make Captain Jack's a must-do. Why is it I never hear a review about Captain Jack's, not only from your show, but others as well? We love the food, and the service is first class, like your show. So Captain Jack's, that's at Downtown Disney, right?
That's where the...
Yeah, I ate there once. It wasn't great. That's probably why.
That's where Chef Mickey's was a long time ago.
Is that right?
That's the original Chef Mickey's. Yep. It's on the wharf. It's off the pier, right?
Yeah,
yeah, it's when you walk in. When
Rainforest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right in that area.
It's never appealed to me, to be honest. That's why I haven't been there in I don't know how many years.
I mean, if you're looking for seafood, which is what wouldn't Fulton's be a better?
See, I just love
Better
Fulton, so if
Yeah,
I had
maybe
to
that's it.
choose, that's just where I'm going.
Well, if any of our listeners have eaten there recently, as in maybe in the last year or so, send us an email. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on Captain Jack's at Downtown Disney.
Cool.
Next email is from Alex from New York City. Despite the fact that I'm really in no financial position to be thinking about it, I've been doing some seriously considering buying into the Disneyfication Club lately. I've done my research on buying resale versus direct from Disney, how many points I would need, etc., but I was hoping you all could help me with one piece of the puzzle. I was wondering about where the villas of each resort are located in relation to the main area, where the regular rooms are. For instance, I can recall an episode where one of you mentioned that even the Boardwalk Resort is close to Epcot. Some or all of the villas are actually way off towards the studio. Something like this would make me steer away from buying into Boardwalk villas, even though I really like the resort. Could you go through the resorts you're familiar with and describe the location of the villas and add your opinions and the pros and cons of the location factor? So he mentioned the villas rather at Boardwalk, and he's, as I recall, Annette, you might know
they're a hike.
They are a hike.
I've had that last room on the hall.
Yeah,
Have you really?
Oh, the one looking over at the Tower of Terror?
All the way down?
Yes. Tennis courts and Tower of Terror. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was
that was
escorting a
like,
group, Lynn, so just imagine that walk to my room when I was done. Yep.
Because I was at the sort of like about a third of the way down the hallway, and as soon as you turn the corner and you see the length of the hallway, it's almost like being in the Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
When you're looking at I'm waiting for the candelabra to like float out the middle of it, start down the very back, and sort of like work its way towards you.
Beach and Yacht Club are kind of like that, but not to that extreme. They're more manageable, I would say, right, Annette?
The Beach Club Villas, yeah. Those are actually in a pretty decent place. Obviously, Bay Lake Towers has the best location.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bay Lake Tower is great. The Animal Kingdom resorts aren't bad in terms of, they're not, no more, I don't think any more of a hike than the regular rooms are.
Wilderness Lodge, you're in a building off to the side.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
a
obviously,
lodge.
yeah, in the lodge, if you're staying in a lodge room, you just take the elevator down and you're in the main lobby, whereas, like you just said, you have to go walk a little bit. It's not terrible. I would say it's probably in the same category as, like, Beach Club villas, right, Annette?
Right. I think the bigger thing to think about is, Old Key West and Saratoga, if you're driving a car, you can pull up in front of the building you're parked at. You know, when you go into a villa, a lot of times you have a lot of luggage, you have groceries, you know, you have a lot of people going. The convenience factor of those two are great because you can pull up right by your building, take all your items into your villa. Whereas the ones we just mentioned, you're going to park and hike back to your room.
Yeah. And if you're considering buying at the DVC and money's an issue, don't forget to consider the dues.
Oh,
because, a lot of times, like, you know, you might find like, ooh, Animal Kingdom is nice and cheap, but they have really high dues. So keep that in mind.
And I can say when I owned at Hilton Head, I mean, I was at Hilton Head, but I traded in and was able to come down to Disney. You just had to be flexible in where you wanted to stay. That was the big thing. Even got a 3-bedroom one time.
Wow.
Nice.
And, you know, that's kind of hard to do if it's not your home resort. So can't be done if you're flexible.
Next email's from John Scott of Cary, North Carolina.
Hey, neighbor.
Cat's dad on the board. In June 2010, we spent 10 days at the World. Not only was it extremely hot and crowded, thank heavens for the Lines application. Ding! We had freakish afternoon thunderstorms that would last well into the evening. My wife vowed never to go to Disney during the summer again or any other time with large crowds. Did I mention that I have a 12-year-old daughter in traditional calendar school? Save the discussion about pulling kids out of school to go to Disney for another time. So that leaves us with going to Disney when a teacher workday gives us a 3-day weekend, late January. Allowing for travel, that gives us 2 full days plus a morning on a departure day. How do you recommend we spend the time?
In theme parks.
Not in dining.
Yeah, counter service restaurants are your friend. You know, so we did this last weekend. We did a full day in the Magic Kingdom. We did a morning in the studios, an afternoon in Epcot, and then a morning again in the Animal Kingdom. Kind of covered all 4 parks.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, just just like do like a best of almost, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Pick like, you know, if I were you and you're a fan of Lines, go to, you know, I'm sure they're subscribed to Touring Plans. Go to touringplans.com. Go look up all the morning and afternoon touring plans you can find and just split up the days. You know,
there you go.
Grab a morning and afternoon, and a morning touring plan, and, you know, you'll be able to see the best of and I think get a lot done. And like Annette said, you know, skip the sit-down meals because that's wasting a lot of time. The only exception might be, late. Let's say you want to eat really late. You know, the parks are closed by 9 o'clock. You know, get that 8:30 dinner somewhere or go to Raglan Road and have dinner there.
Cool.
Next email is from Brad Groudon of Mandeville, Louisiana. My family and I are going to be taking at least 2 week-long trips, so 2 one-week trips, to the World within a calendar year. As a result, I've been looking into annual passes. Mm-hmm. I've heard you guys talk often about only one person in a group needing an annual pass for discounts and such, but I was wondering if there would be a reason for me to buy annual passes for each member of the family. There are 5 of us in all together, 2 adults, 3 children, ages 8 to 12. We'll be in the World at least 16 days within the next 12 months. If we all have passes, we would probably find our way down there for a couple of long weekends as well. Yep. So with that in mind, will it pay for me to get 5 annual passes, or should I just get the discounts and get Magic Your Way passes for the rest of the family?
No, annual passes make sense for everyone.
Definitely.
It's 11 days is sort of the break even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and if you're going to get the annual passes, consider getting them before August, or at least the vouchers before August when the prices are sure to go up. You probably save $100 or so just doing that.
They might give you an extra night or something. You could stay.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for our last question of the day, and usually I ask Mike Newell 3 questions. I give him the option to answer one of 3 questions. One gets right today. Either go back to the email box to be answered later. But since Newell isn't here, you know what, Len? I think you've earned last question of the day honors today.
Oh, I'm really touched. Thank you.
Your options are Curiosity Killed the Cat, Feed Me with an exclamation point, and a query for that great tequila guzzling touring plan guru Len Testa.
I can't pick my own question, so what was the first one again?
Curiosity Killed the Cat.
I'm curious. I gotta admit it. Let's see what that one is.
Last email today is from Aaron from Cape Coral, Florida. Dear WWD crew, at the end of each show, you allow Mike to select one of 3 emails to be read.
Oh, wow. This is like a shadow.
Mike always picks the email that I don't, LOL. So I wonder, can you do a show with just the rejected emails? I'm always curious as to the topic of those, and it kills me never to know. I think it would be a fun show and maybe a monthly thing. Thanks for keeping me entertained on my way to work every morning. Well, Aaron, the emails that we don't get picked, like the 2 today, or Feed Me, and a query for that great tequila guzzling touring plan guru Len Testa, those are going back to be answered later. More often than not, they're just answered in the usual order. They go back just to be answered whenever we get to them. But we don't delete them. I don't know. Some people have always thought we deleted those emails. No, they just may not get that fast pass to the front. So don't worry, you will eventually get to them.
How funny that Lynn picked that question.
I know.
Yeah.
Newell wouldn't have. Just saying.
Shenanigans.
Don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And for those of you looking to plan that trip to Walt Disney World, and maybe you're thinking to yourself, I would love to meet that tequila guzzling, touring playing guru Len Testa. Well, you know what? The perfect opportunity is going to be Reunion 2011, and Len's going to be there. Or we better be there at least. And MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you book that trip, because not only can they book you the hotel and get you a great rate, but they're also going to get you the opportunity to get into a couple different things. One is going to be the opportunity to book into any hard ticket events that are going to pop up, which they will. And the clients of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel who are going to Reunion will be also invited to join MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for a private dessert party. Which is a tradition now for many, many years that MEI and Mouse Travel has done. So, lots of great reasons to book with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Check them out online at mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit us online at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
South of the border, Mexico way.